Sugaloruharam Goranga Gudachama Gopyara Kopa Briksham Gopala Gadaratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavadam Satatam Namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachiya Dileka Kola Kahe Premananda Hemana Gauranga Hridaya Dariya Bola Bhaja Gauranga Kaha Gauranga Laha Gauranga Namare Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje Sehoya Hare Pranare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Yashayva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya, Prema Bhidana Parama Pumarta, Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya. Chaitanya Chandra Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandra Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandra Namo Namaste Madhgavirapi Gopala Sri Kuryat Kripaya Jodi Tadaiva Sambhaya Pidva Rishiyustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunatha Abda Braja Bahalabha Pahimam Vanchakopadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I have to thank Satpati Prabhu and Tukaram Prabhu for trying to bring me out of Maya and bringing me here and blessing me to get your association.
Can we use this if it is comfortable with you? I don't know, mic is not good. Okay. Sound is okay.
You going to translate or?
No need.
Okay, sab jana English buji? Jani na? Okay. So, I was thinking how fortunate I am to be here with all of you today. It's a very special thing. It used to be, I heard, that in India, when the Ramayana was playing on television, everything shut down everywhere. Now, when they play cricket, everything shuts down. Many people, you're all coming here tonight. It's a very special thing. If we put out a sign, as my Guru Maharaj used to advise, come, drink, dance, and dine with all of us. How many people will come? If you put a sign that says free love of God, how many people will come? But if you put a sign up out front that says free beer, how many people will come? So I can understand that all of you are not part of the free beer crowd. Aapko bahut dhanyavad. So we're very blessed. And this facility is all about association. I wrote a book a few years ago which Prabhuji asked me to speak on the title of, called it When Good Fortune Arises. And it's something of a history book, but I didn't want it to be a history book. I wanted it to be a living book. It's a story of our revered spiritual master, Sri Srimad Gaur Govind Maharaj, and the visit of Srila Prabhupada to Orissa, and how this good fortune arose in the life of our Guru Maharaj by meeting with Srila Prabhupada. And it's also the story of many young persons like yourselves who came in touch with him, and their good fortune arose. But I didn't want the book that someone would read the book and think, oh, this is nice. 20, 30 years ago, someone got good fortune. And now, Ami Durbhagya. Mudurbhagya. Very unfortunate. No good fortune is left. No, the principle is the good fortune is always there. And that's the purpose of this facility. To bring together like-minded persons who are not just interested in cricket and in free beer, but who want to think a little more deeply about the purpose of life. I'm a fortunate person for many reasons, one of which is I moved here to Orissa in 1993, and I've been here ever since. Sabu Oriyabasi Bahut Balolok. Very, very special people. Jagannath Ankara Priya. Very, very dear to Lord Jagannath, the people of Orissa. And I feel so blessed to be in such kind of association. For all of you, this bhakti is in your blood. This is your natural claim. When I first came to Orissa in 1993, sometimes we were going to the villages, and the villagers are always asking, how can I get a wristwatch like you have? And they used to ask, how can I get a motorcycle? How can I go to Kolkata or Delhi? Now today, they don't have that question. I go there today, and they want to know, how can I go to New York? It used to be that people all over India, at least once in their life, if you were a Muslim, you want to do Hajj, and you go to Mecca. And for the millions of Hindus and Vaishnavas in India, and once in their life, I want to go to Jagannath Puri. I want to go to Badrak Ashram, to Vrindavan, to Rameshwaram. I want to go to the sacred place, and people would walk, and they would spend many months, and sometimes they would die on the way walking there. But just once in my life, I have to go to Jagannath Puri Dham and collect the dust, the dooli. But now, people are thinking something different. At least once in my life, I have to go to New York City. And I'm going to bow down to Wall Street. And I'm going to collect the dooli, the dust there. So sometimes I become confused. And when I speak to Deshi Janas, I say, I don't know. Am I a Deshi or am I a Bideshi? I don't know. But we want to be Deshi Jana. We want to be in the heart of Jagannath, be in the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this good fortune is here. And this is why I've come. I don't want to go to New York and bow down to Wall Street. I'm sorry. That's very sad. I wanted my whole life to come here. And if you give your Ashirvad, then I pray that I can stay here the rest of my life. and serve my Gurudev in Jagannath Puri. Because this is real good fortune. That doesn't mean that America is not a good place to make money. We're not fanatics. But the problem is if you go there, and maybe you get some money, maybe you don't, it's a lot of trouble, but you forget who you are. And you forget why you're here and the purpose of your life, then what is the value? So I'd like to just speak a few things, some secret things. Because first of all, if we want to have a facility like this is not just a place to come and eat, a place to come and sleep. It's not just a place to come and read Bhagavad Gita. Although you may be sleeping here, eating here, and reading Bhagavad Gita here. But especially this is a place for Guyam Akyati Prichati, for deep exchanges of the heart. Because everyone is looking for some happiness, for some satisfaction. And that's why they're watching cricket, that's why they're looking for free beer. But for people with a little brain, they're not interested in trying to enjoy all this sense gratification. Because they understand, adyantavanta kunta nateshu ramate. There's no happiness in the beginning, the middle, and the end. So, I feel very blessed to speak to all of you, because for one thing, you're the future. And we want to see you empowered. We want to see all of you become great devotees. Once we had some young children from the Gurukula, the school in Mayapur, who came to Jagannath Puri. There were some young girls, like maybe 8 to 12 years old, and they asked me to take them on parikrama. I take many devotees on parikrama. I like it very much, and we speak some Rahasya Katha, some things. And we went to Tota Gopinath temple in Puri, and we spoke something. And when we finished, we were walking away, and one of the girls looked up at me, a little girl, and she said, Prabhuji, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. And I stopped, and I said, no. And those little girls looked a little hurt and frightened. And I said, you should be better than me. Because Ami Bideshi, I come from a very sad place. But all of you are very fortunate persons. Durbhagya. But all of you are Subhagya. You're very, very fortunate. Because you're here in this most confidential, special place. But the very sad thing is that sometimes you don't think about it. And sometimes we're more busy thinking about cricket, or girls, or free beer, or music, or whatever it may be. We don't hate those things. But that's not the purpose of life. And to live in such a wonderful, special place as Orissa and not understand the culture. I want to ask all of you for help. We want to come here and we want to light this state, this place on fire. We want to light it on fire with the fire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Prema Nam Sankirtan movement. This is real happiness. And this is a real mission in life. People need you. You're the future. But have some wisdom and understand something about this very sacred, amazing place. I think all of you. Can you hear me back there? Okay. Can you hear me? Tikachi? Can you hear me okay? Maybe I should just talk loud. What should I do? I don't mind. We can try to talk like this. Okay, let's see.
Any engineer? Sound system?
Any engineer for sound system?
Okay, give me this one. Now you can start.
धन्यवाद. Okay, is it working? Yeah, it seems good. Hare Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna. So I wanted to just share a few thoughts with you about something very mysterious, because that's how we make friends. By sharing something secret, not just by having a building or having rules, or even by reading Bhagavad Gita, or even by chanting japa. Those are all important. But we need to have something confidential. That's how we make friends. And everyone is hankering for that. Rupa Goswami says, Guyam akyati prichati. We have to have some confidential thing that we're sharing with each other. So, does anyone here not know who Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is? Raise your hand. Okay, very good. You don't know who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is? Okay, I thought you must. You have tilak on. He knows about sound systems, expert. So, many people know about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it said there that Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kiddiso Vanayaya Viswadyo Yanabhuta Madhuri Makiddiso Vamadiya Sokyam Tashamana Nubhava the Kiddisam Vetti Lobhat Tadbhava Jasamajani Sachi Garba Sindhu Harindu. That he's Krishna, but he came for three desires: to understand the mood of Radha. He wants to go to Vrindavan. So our question is, why did he come to Orissa? Why did he leave his mother Sachi? Did he leave his wife Vishnupriya? He left his friends. And he came here. Why didn't he go to Vrindavan? Later on he went to Vrindavan. And he was very happy. But he left Vrindavan to come back here. What is so special about this place? You should know. Mubideshi. I'm a Bideshi. But I want to know this secret. And our Guru Maharaj, he spoke something about this. He once said, if you want to understand the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have to understand the mood of Radha. What is the mood of Radharani toward the Dham, toward the sacred place? In the Garga Samhita, Radharani, she states, Yatra Vrindavanam Nasti, Yatra no Govardhan Nasti, Yatra na Jamuna Nadi, Tatra me namana sukh. I have no manasuk, no happiness, where these three things are not present. The Vrindavan forest, Govardhan hill, and the Jamuna river. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to understand the mood of Radha. He's Krishna in the mood of a devotee. So why did he come here? And why, when he came here, does it seem his ecstasy increased even more? How many of you have been to Vrindavan? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you have been to Mayapur? Raise your hand. Okay. I ask you a question. How many stones did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melt in Mayapur? Kichina? How many stones did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melt in Vrindavan? Janina? Kichina? How many stones did he melt in Jagannath Puri. I know of 4. He melted his footprints beside the Garuda Stamba. He melted his fingerprints in the Garuda Stamba. He went to Brahmagiri Alanath and started rolling on the ground and melted his body print. And once someone brought him a Govardhan Shila from Vrindavan, and here in Puri, he melted his thumbprint in that stone. 4 stones here he melted. And many ecstasies he exhibited you haven't heard of anywhere else. So what is so special about this place? And before he went to Puri, he first came to Bhubaneswar. And then he went to Puri. What is so special about Bhubaneswar? It's a very confidential, very in-depth topic. In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Sanatana Goswami describes Jagannath Puri. Tasmin Subhadra Balaram Samyutas Tamvaivinodham Purushottamo Bhajet Chakresa Govardhana Brindakatavi Kalinda Jatira Bhuvi Swayamiyam. That in Jagannath Puri you'll find 3 things. The Vrindavan forest, Govardhan Hill, and the Jamuna River. Because Jagannath Puri is Gupta Vrindavan. It's a hidden part of Vrindavan. Before we enter Vrindavan, if we go to Vrindavan, why do people want to go to Vrindavan? What is famous about Vrindavan? The Ras Leela is very famous in Vrindavan. Everyone wants to enter the Ras Leela. Even Mahadev, Lord Shiva, wants to enter. And he came, and Sri Krishna appointed him as the chokidar, the guard for the Ras Leela. Said, you are Gopishwar, and you stay here. And so Vaishnavas, when they go to Vrindavan, they first go to Gopishwar Mahadev to get some anumanta, some permission, some blessing, ashirvad, to enter into Vrindavan. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came first to Bhubaneswar. And it's said in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, he visited Koti Linga. Koti Linga. He visited every linga in Bhubaneswar. And then he went to Puri. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and his last visit to Jagannath Puri, he got down from the train in Bhubaneswar and he offered obeisances. And he recited a prayer which is written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Vrindavanavani pateja soma soma mole sanandana sanatana naradeja gopishvara braja bilasi yudangri padme prema prayacha niruparinamo namaste. He said that, my dear Lord Shiva, you're Gopishwar Mahadev. You please grant me entrance in Vrindavan. And he said that Lingaraj here is non-different from Gopishwar. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here first because Jagannath Puri is Gupta Vrindavan. And if we want to enter Vrindavan, we have to take permission of Gopishwar Mahadev. So he came here first. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta came here first and offered his pranam. And His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he came here. And he spent 2 weeks here in 1977. At that time, many Videshi devotees were with him. And they were complaining because there was nothing here. Just big anthills and scorpions. You know scorpion? How do you say in Odia? And sap. Once our Guru Maharaj was giving a katha here where the temple property is to some villagers. There was no one here at that time. No buildings, nothing. No IRC village. And he spoke for a few hours and a cobra came in his lap. And he didn't know. He finished the talk and he stood up and the cobra fell down. This is such a place. And the Videshis who were here, they're saying, Prabhupada, this is not good. No one will want to come here. And Srila Prabhupada called for Gaur Govind Maharaj. He told them, you are my child. They want me to stay in the state guest house, but I want to stay in the house you built for me, my child, Gaur Govind. And he called for him, and he told him, he pointed at all the devotees outside, and he said, they all have problems. They can't stay. I want you to stay. And he did. He stayed here for many years, and he wasn't a famous person. No one knew about him. He had practically no followers. But he stayed here on the order of Srila Prabhupada. When he first was here, there was no place to stay. Before Prabhupada, before the hut was built. And he was staying with the road workers. They had a tent. And road workers in India, they're not very high-class people. You know, they're drinking and smoking, saying bad words, eating very nasty things. And he was staying with them. And one local person asked him, he said, Maharaj, how are you staying with these road workers? And Gaur Govind Maharaj said, no, my Guru Maharaj gave me this place. This is very good. This is what my Gurudev gave me. He gave him an order. Good fortune arose in his life when he met Srila Prabhupada. But that's not the end of good fortune. Good fortune means that we get the agya, the order from Gurudev. And good fortune means we make that order our life, and we don't go here and there. We dedicate ourselves to that mission. And Srila Prabhupada, he told the devotees, he said, now you see this place, there's just wild animals here. There were elephants. Still, you know, the elephant preserve is not so far away from here. That time there were wild elephants around. And Prabhupada told them, one day this will become the center of Bhubaneswar. And now it's the fastest growing part of the city of Bhubaneswar. Prabhupada's words came true. And Srila Prabhupada instructed Gaur Govind Maharaj, I want you to translate my books into Oriya. I've marked it. That many people, how many of you know who Bhakta Charan Das is? Raise your hand. Bhakta Kavi Gopal Krishna. See? You're very poor. You have no money. You don't know your own wealth. You're a person who's living in a house with this great gold right there. And you're crying because you don't have money to buy one roti. But you have so much gold right there. You don't know the literary history of Orissa. We want to do a project in Puri. We're calling it Gora. G-O-R-A. That word means that person is Govinda Radha. That's Gora. But in our case, Gora has another meaning. It's the Gaudiya Odia Research Association. And we want to preach to you about your books. We want to show you what good fortune you have with Bhakta Kavi Gopal Krishna and with so many amazing writers in the line of Shyamananda Prabhu and others. Because I see today that the Odia people are only interested in learning English and going to New York. Very sad. You don't know what you have. So Srila Prabhupada, he wanted our Guru Maharaj to translate his books into Odia, because you should have pride in Odia literature, but you should learn something about it. It's some of the greatest literature on the planet. Amazing literature. But today people are not interested. To help them to appreciate their own culture, Srila Prabhupada instructed him, translate into Odia. He instructed him, you go throughout Orissa and preach to people. You make a temple here in Bhubaneswar. The devotees were saying, but Prabhupada, we should have a temple in Jagannath Puri. Prabhupada said, no. Prabhupada Guru Maharaj said, was a little angry with Lord Jagannath. I've been living now in Orissa for over 25 years, and mu Oriya Beshi Buddhi Parina. This kichi kichi. One of the only things I know how to say. Bideshi Pradesh Nishad. Whenever I go to Jagannath Mandir, hey, Bideshi Pradesh Nishad. I go to Lingaraj, hey, Bideshi Pradesh Nishad. Wherever I go, Durbhagya. So Prabhupada was angry, a little sulky with Jagannath. Why are you not allowing my disciples inside? And then our Guru Maharaj said that Lord Shiva, Mahadev, came to Prabhupada and told him, you open a temple here in Bhubaneswar. Because Bhubaneswar is the gateway to Jagannath Puri. This is a place of Gopishwar Mahadev. And Srila Prabhupada instructed Gaur Govind Maharaj, our Guru Maharaj, you install the deities of Krishna Balaram, Gaurnitai, and Jagannath Balari Subhadra. He told him actually, don't install Jagannath. Jagannath will come on his own. And that's another story. Wonderful story. So many stories are there. And Prabhupada told Gaur Govind Maharaj also, you travel around the world, I want you to preach to the preachers. Very unusual instruction. Practically no one else he told like that. And he told him another thing one day. He called him in his hut and he said, I want you to tolerate, cooperate. I think you should make that a sign like that and put on the wall here. Because if you're going to be able to survive in this place, you have to tolerate, cooperate. Isn't it? But we can tolerate when we have some happiness. And that happiness comes from Krishna Katha. And so this temple was built. But don't ask who was the architect for the temple. Don't ask what kind of bricks did they use, what kind of cement did they use. If you ask that question, you're a murkha. It means you don't understand anything. Because this temple is not built out of bricks and cement and rebar. This temple was built out of Krishna Katha. It was built on the words of Srila Prabhupada and on the words of our revered spiritual master, who came here and spoke Krishna Katha every day. And Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. Just by hearing that Krishna Katha, all your fear, lamentation, illusion goes away. Parasparanu Katanam Bhavanam Bhagavad Mita Rata Mitas Tushta Nivrita Mita Atmana. The 11th canto of the Bhagavatam says that we should learn how to associate with devotees. The purpose of this place is not just to make you religious. That's nice. You should be religious. You should get up early. You should take bath. You should be vegetarian. You should be honest. You should chant japa. Those are all important things. But the purpose of this place is something much, much more. The purpose of this place is to teach us how to get prasanga. Satam prasangam mamavirya samvido bhavanti vitkana visayana kata. This Josnat Asa Bhavarga Varpanishada Ratir Bhakti Anukramishyati. It said in 3rd canto of the Bhagavatam that we should come together with devotees. Satam prasanga. And we want to have prasanga. I know what is sadhu sangha. What is satam prasanga? What is the difference? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that prasanga means something more. Sadhu Sangha means you're being honest, you're being vegetarian, you're getting up early in the morning, it's very good. But prasanga means that you're hearing Krishna Katha. And in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam, very beautiful verse, Dhruva Maharaj describes, Bhaktim Mahu Pravahatam Tahime Prasanga. The same word prasanga is used. Bhaktim Mahu Pravahatam Tahime Prasanga. It's 4:9:11. Very nice verse. Very important verse. Huh? He says, I want to associate with those persons who are Bhaktim Mahu Pravahatam, who are always absorbed in bhakti, always absorbed in Krishna. That's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That was your grandmother, who used to sing so many songs, who knew who Bhakti Charan Das was, and Bhakti Kavi Gopal Krishna, and books like Mathura Mahatmya, and others, Mathura Vijay, who know those books and was always singing the songs, doing things. They were Krishna conscious always. Now we have to relearn. You have to relearn what your grandparents knew. And we should give this to other people. So this is the purpose of this building, is to come together, Guyamakyati Prichati, to come together, Satam Prasanga Mama Virya Samvido, to have some Satam Prasanga, close association, to have some Paraspara Anukatanam. Paraspara means back and forth, not like a lecture in the university. The system in the university is not correct. I'm sorry, it's not correct. If you really want to learn something, you speak back and forth. Not just you hear a lecture or on the commercial and television, somebody wants you to buy something. We want prasanga. Prasanga means paraspara. There should be some back and forth. We should think. And when we think like that, then this good fortune arises. And this is real association. In the Mahabharata, Krishna, he told Duryodhana, Yasthan dvesti, samam dvesti, yasthananu samamanu. He said, you don't like the Pandavas, but I have to tell you something, Duryodhana. Anyone who hates my devotee, they hate me. And anyone who follows my devotee, they're following me. So this is the purpose of this movement. Bhaktim Mahu Pravahatam Tvayime Prasango. To establish this prasanga. To see all of you empowered. To see all of you better than me. Which is not very hard. That's our purpose. To establish this future. To please Srila Prabhupada. To please Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you should understand something about the depth of this very mysterious place. In the Skanda Purana, it said, Rahasyam etat paramam Vishnu, stanam anutamam. This is Jagannath Puri. Rahasyam etat paramam Vishnu. This place which is Parama Vishnu Stana. It's a place, the topmost place of the Lord, but it's Rahasya. One of the names of Jagannath Puri is Gupta Dham. It's Durlabha Kshetra. Very difficult place to enter. And therefore we take the help of Mahadev Shivji and Bhubaneswar. And this temple is here at the feet of Mahadev Shivji, of Lingaraj, taking his Ashirbad, so that we can enter into Puri. And not just physically, because all they tell me is Bideshi Prabesh Nishedh. But I tell them, I don't have to go inside. Jagannath comes outside to see me. And we call that Rath Yatra. We call that Patit Pavan Jagannath in front of the temple. These things are very, very Guyam Akyati Prichati, very confidential things. These are the kind of things I hope that you can discuss here in this place. And you memorize shlokas. And you get up early and you be vegetarian and take prasadam and do all those important things. But you nourish your heart with these very secret things that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to reveal and that Srila Prabhupada came to give here. So there's so many things we could say about this place. I don't want to go any further. Tukaram Prabhu may get angry with me. He's a very dangerous person. So I want to ask, maybe he won't give me prasadam even, I don't know, if I get in trouble. I want to ask if anyone has any, before questions, I like what we call reflections. That's paraspara. Because I want to know, what did you win tonight? You came to the program and everybody gets a prize. You all win a prize. What is the prize? The prize is, what do you remember? What strikes you? What was special about the katha? Something you liked? You share that with us. That's encouraging to me. And some questions are okay also. Anybody have anything? Prabhuji?
I got one reflection today. One thing I want to reflect upon after hearing from you is that we all knew why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, how he went to Vrindavan to glorify Srimati Radharani. But one question you made me arose in my heart is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Puri. Really, I want to know. I think you didn't answer that, but that question has risen now.
Okay.
If you may answer in short, if you wish.
I'll try.
Yeah.
Usually to answer that question, I would take about 3 days, 2 hours a day. I'm going to tell you in just one sentence or 2 sentences, but it requires some unpacking. Not so easy. Okay? When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan, where did he stay? He stayed in a place called Imli Tal. Imli Tal is right near to Vamsivat, where the Ras Leela took place. And one night in the Ras Leela, Radharani left. And Krishna went looking for her on the banks of the Jamuna River. And finally he came to this place, so there was one tamarind tree, Imli Tal. And he sat under the tree, and Krishna started crying, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. And an amazing thing happened. Shama Sundar, thinking about Radharani, sitting under that tree, Shama Sundar became Gora Sundar. He became golden colored. That was 5,000 years ago. 500 years ago, the same Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he went to Vrindavan. And he went to the same place. But now, he's in the mood of Radha. And Radha doesn't chant her own name. She doesn't chant Radhe, Radhe. She's always chanting Krishna, Krishna. And Mahaprabhu is so absorbed in thinking of Krishna that his Gauravarna changed and Gaurasundar became Shama Sundar. Just backwards. And he thought, this is very bad. I came here to taste Radha Bhav, but this is a place of Milan, of union, Sambhog. And the mood of Radha brings Krishna out in me. So he thought, this is bad. The next thing, a Vangsi will come, and then Shiki Pichi, a peacock feather will come, and then I'll become Krishna, and I can't taste the mood of Radha. So it's a problem. So he decided, I have to go to a place which is 2 opposites in one container. A place which is Vrindavan. But it's not Vrindavan. Because if it's Vrindavan, then I become Krishna in the mood of Radha. So I have to go to a place which is Vrindavan but not Vrindavan. And so he came to Jagannath Puri. And this place is Gupta Vrindavan. Okay? That's the skinny answer. Anyone else with any reflections or questions? What did you think? Is okay? What was the best thing you got?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My reflection is that Vaishnavism culture is embedded in Odisha, and being from Odisha, we should learn about that things, and we should practice, and we should preach all over the world about our own culture.
Yes. You should follow Guru Maharaj, and you should go to the West and be like him. Make many disciples and preach all over. Okay. Anybody else? Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank
you for such an enlightening session. I have a question. Generally, I see there are two types of life which people are living. First is that in which people have their family, they do job, and they are having responsibilities, and they are fulfilling all those things. Okay, and they are doing some prayers and rituals also, but for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And the other life is that some people are completely surrendering themselves to a particular organization which they have faith upon, and they are following with complete devotion. They are doing their daily activities which are there. So, but generally, both types of people, they feel that that part of life is much better, and they are thinking that materialistic life is much better, and the other part is spiritual is much better. So as we say that grass is greener on the other side. But I want to know that what is the midway out? How can we have a proper balance between both?
If Krishna Bhakti is only available if you wear saffron cloth. If Krishna Bhakti is only available if you shave your head and wear saffron cloth and move in the temple, then this movement is finished. There's no hope. And it's not a real movement, because our movement is not about a hairstyle or a style of dress, but it's about consciousness. Krishna says, Mamanabhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskar. You be my devotee, think of me. Constantly think of me. So, how can we best do that? That depends upon our situation, depends upon our nature, but it should be something which is sabhaviki, something which is natural, not something which is artificial.